Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Thira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Good evening, everyone. Hare Krishna. So tonight we will read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we'll read from chapter 4, Ambarish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni, and text 68. So I'll just read the Sanskrit and then English translation and the purport. Sadhava. Before we begin, if everybody could please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tvaham mad anyatena jananti naham tebyo managapi. So this is Vishnu, Lord Vishnu or Krishna, speaking to Durvasa Muni. And he's telling, Vishnu's telling Durvasa Muni, explaining to Durvasa Muni what he thinks of his devotees, what Vishnu or Krishna thinks of his devotees, how he feels about them. So this is what he says. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Purport. Srila Prabhupada. Since Durvasa Muni wanted to chastise Maharaj Ambarish, it is to be understood that he wanted to give pain to the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Lord says, Sadhavo hridayam mayam. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. The Lord's feelings are like those of a father. Any fathers here? A few fathers? Okay. All right, so you could relate. The Lord's feelings are like those of a father who feels pain when his child is in pain. Therefore, offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee are serious. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very strongly recommended that one not commit any offense at the lotus feet of a devotee. Such offenses are compared to a mad elephant, because when a mad elephant enters a garden, it causes devastation. Therefore, one should be extremely careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Actually, Maharaj Ambarish was not at all at fault. Durvasa Muni unnecessarily wanted to chastise him on flimsy grounds. Maharaj Ambarish wanted to complete the Ekadashi Parana as part of devotional service to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he drank a little water. So he was fasting on Ekadashi, which it's Ekadashi today, and then when he was going to break his Ekadashi fast, he wanted to complete it in a particular juncture of time, which is the authorized way to do it. But anyways, so we'll get into that. But he didn't do that exactly. I mean, he didn't break the rule, but so Durvasa Muni got upset with him. But we'll get into that soon. Therefore, he drank a little water. But although Durvasa was a great mystic Brahmin, he did not know what is what. That is the difference between a pure devotee and a so-called learned scholar of Vedic knowledge. The devotees, being always situated in the core of the Lord's heart, surely get all instructions directly from the Lord, as confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 11. Tesham avanukam partam aham agyana jam tamaha nashayam abhavosto jnana deepana basvata. So this is what Krishna says. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. The devotee does not do anything not sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigeha na bujhaya. Even the most learned person or experienced person cannot understand the movements of a Vaishnav, a pure devotee. No one therefore should criticize a pure Vaishnav. A Vaishnav knows his own business. Whatever he does is precisely right because he is always guided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanativadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditam Meditasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karitavachalam Pangum Lam Gayate Girim Yet Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurundiritaranam Vancha Kapurubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll read the translation again. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. So this is a very important verse within the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, all the verses in the Bhagavatam are extremely important, but this is one of the more famous ones. Welcome to Ujeshwari, all the way back from India. She was there for a month, right? Or more than a month, like 3 months, right? So you made it back. All right, good. Welcome back. 2 months, yeah. So yeah, this is one of the more famous verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the one we just read. And devotees memorize this and meditate on it and think about it. So it's a very important verse. In that it reveals, you could say, the heart of Krishna, because that's exactly what the verse is indicating. It says it's specifically talking about Krishna's heart. So it literally reveals the heart of Krishna, that the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the pure devotee, and they don't know anyone but me, and I don't know anyone but them. So it's revealing Krishna's heart, how he feels towards his devotees. In other words, they're very close to him, like the most close, because they're within his heart. And in the purport, Prabhupada makes many important, interesting points, and one of them is that he's stressing that Srila Prabhupada stressing here that the offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee are serious, and therefore one should not commit offenses towards. He mentions pure devotees. He mentions devotees. Therefore, one should be extremely careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So a pure devotee is very high. They have no other desire besides to serve Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. They're always thinking of Krishna. There are extremely, you could say, rare and also, rare and amazing. And it's not so easy to be a pure devotee. If you've tried, if anybody who tries, they'll know that it's not so easy to be a pure devotee. But there are pure devotees. But specifically, when Prabhupada says here that one should not commit, one should be careful not to commit offense to the lotus feet of a pure devotee, someone may think, okay, well, great, that means I could offend the other devotees who aren't pure, who may maybe mix with different desires, because there are devotees mixed with different desires. There's so many different desires that aren't directly service to Krishna. So someone may think, okay, well, I could offend the other devotees, because it says here one should be careful not to offend the pure devotees. And in relation to that, in the previous verses, Vishnu also says something about in relation to that. He says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said to Durvasa Muni, I am completely under control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the core of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee, so he's referring to a pure devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. So in other words, those who may not be pure devotees, but who are connected with pure devotees, means they have a spiritual master or a guru who's a pure devotee, and then there's a disciplic succession, the line of gurus going back to Krishna. They're also dear to Krishna. So in other words, we shouldn't offend them either, because they're also dear to Krishna. So in relation to this verse, it's spoken after quite a few verses in the chapter, and the chapter is explaining who Ambarish Maharaj is. So Ambarish Maharaj, according to the Bhagavatam, was at a particular time in history the king of the whole world. And so he was very wealthy. You can imagine how wealthy he was. But it said that Ambarish Maharaj, although he had so much material opulence, he considered it insignificant, and he wasn't bewildered by it. And he thought of it just as, he thought about it in relation to its true nature, which is that it's temporary. And just as in a dream, one may dream so many things, and then when the dream's over, it's over. So similarly, the wealth in which he occurred, being the king of the world, he looked at it exactly like that it was dreamlike. So he wasn't an ordinary man, materialistic man attached to his wealth, but he was extremely detached, pure devotee, even though he was a king. And it said that he saw all of this whole world as no more significant than just a stone. So in other words, he wasn't absorbed, addicted, attached to this world or the pleasures of this world at all. He was completely absorbed in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as it goes, he was a devotee, so he was performing different austerities or taking on difficulties for his spiritual advancement, for the pleasure of Krishna. So one of the things he was doing is he was fasting for Ekadashi, which today is Ekadashi, by the way. So in the orthodox following of Ekadashi, one just fasts. They don't take anything, no food, no water. And in the not so orthodox, which is also bona fide, or authentic or authorized, one takes everything besides beans and grains. So they avoid grains and beans. So they take vegetables and different things like that, fruits. So Maharaj Ambarish, he was doing a full fast, no food, no water, and he was fasting for quite some time. So then what happened is, all of a sudden, Durvasa Muni appeared on the scene. So Durvasa Muni was this very powerful mystic yogi, extremely powerful. So also Ambarish Maharaj was just about to break his fast. So he had like a big feast there or something, and just about to break the fast. So then Durvasa Muni appears. So then Ambarish Maharaj, he tells him, I could, would you like something to eat? Can I feed you? Because that's the custom, you feed guests. So Ambarish, Durvasa Muni said, yes, that's fine, but I'm going to go down to the river. I'm going to take my noon bath in the river, and then I'll come back, and then I'll accept. So then Ambarish Maharaj says, okay, fine. So then Durvasa Muni, he goes down to the river, he takes his bath, and then Ambarish Maharaj was realizing that the juncture of time in which the fast is supposed to be broken is coming close to an end. And if you don't follow it, then you don't get the full benefit. So he consulted with some learned personalities, some Brahmins, some learned personalities, Ambarish Maharaj, and he said, what do I do? He's down there at the river, and the time is almost finished where I'm supposed to break my fast. What should I do? Because he was thinking that maybe he could drink water. Because water is breaking the fast, but not breaking the fast at the same time. So sometimes it's seen like that. So he was thinking like that. And the Brahmins, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what advice to give him. So Ambarish Maharaj, being very intelligent, he's a pure devotee, he came to the conclusion that I will drink some water, because it doesn't really break the fast. So he did that. He sipped some water. Just a little bit of water. Just a little bit of water. I'm going to have a little bit of water now too. I broke my fast. So Ambarish Maharaj had a little sip of water, and then Durvasa Muni, he finished what he was doing, and he was going back to the palace of Ambarish Maharaj. Oops, she's going the wrong way. So Ambarish Maharaj, he went to the palace of Ambarish Maharaj. And Durvasa Muni, by his mystic power, he could understand that Ambarish Maharaj broke the fast by sipping water. So when he got back to the palace, Ambarish Maharaj's palace, he approached Maharaj Ambarish, and he said, and he was very angry. He said that his face was, he was frowning, and his eyebrows were looking very angry. And he told Ambarish Maharaj, he said, "You broke the fast." He said, "This is a violation of customs, of social customs, of religious customs, of the rules of religion." And he started heavily criticizing him. He called him he called him cruel. He said, "You're cruel." He said, "You're not a devotee." And he even said, "You're trying to take the position of God." So he really was like angry, frustrated with him. And he said, "You're crooked. And you're proud. You're a proud king." So he was saying these things. So then he was extremely angry, and it said that Durvasa Muni, he became red. His face became red with anger. And it said that he grabbed part of his hair, and then he threw it on the ground. And from that, because he was a mystic yogi, he created a demon, a fiery red demon that said it was like blazing fire, like at the time of devastation, very intense demon. So then this demon had a trident, and then he was going to attack Ambarish Maharaj. And what did Ambarish Maharaj do? He didn't run. He just stood there. And he was thinking that, well, if Krishna wants me to go, then I'm going to go. And if he doesn't want me to go, then I'll continue to live. So he just stood there. And he was probably, with his palms folded and just stood. So then what happened is Lord Vishnu, many of you know, he has some weapons, and one of those weapons is a Sudarshan chakra. So it's like this wheel, spins really fast, and it sometimes takes care of people in an interesting way. So this Sudarshan chakra was there, and it came, and it just burnt that demon to ashes, destroyed him. So then what happened is, so Durvasa Muni, his plan was foiled. He didn't kill Ambarish Maharaj, which you can imagine, he was literally trying to kill him for breaking a fast. I mean, talk about freaking out over a small offense, right? It's like he really lost it. So what happened is that Sudarshan chakra that just destroyed that demon, it started going towards Durvasa Muni. So this is Vishnu's weapon. It was going towards Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni, he started running. And because he was a mystic yogi, he was running everywhere. He was running here, there, all directions. He was going to the ocean. He was going absolutely everywhere. And he said that he went up to the higher planets, and he went up to the demigod, he went up to Lord Brahma, and he was saying, "Please save me. This Sudarshan chakra is going to destroy me." And Lord Brahma said, I can't do it. In essence, he said that. I can't do it. I can't save you because Vishnu, I'm under the control of Vishnu. I'm under the control of Krishna. I can't do it. I can't save you. So then he went to Shiva, and Shiva said the same thing. So then eventually Durvasa, and the whole time the Sudarshan chakra was following Durvasa Muni. So he was just in absolute fear for his life. So then he makes his way up to the spiritual world, to Vishnu's abode. So Vishnu's there. And he tells, so Durvasa Muni says, "Please save me. This is your weapon, please save me." And then this is where Vishnu says these verses here. The ones we read about the pure devotees are in the core of my heart. I'm under the control of the pure devotees. They know no one but me. They're very dear to me, and so on and so on. So this is where these verses come in. And then Vishnu says that, he says that you should go to Ambarish Maharaj. This is what he says. O best of the Brahmins, you should therefore go immediately to King Ambarish. I wish you all good fortune. If you can satisfy Maharaj Ambarish, then there will be peace for you. So he said, I can't help you. You have to go to Ambarish Maharaj. So Durvasa Muni went all the way to Ambarish Maharaj, back to Ambarish Maharaj, and he fell at his feet, and he grasped his feet, and he said, in essence, please save me. Please forgive me. Please forgive my offenses. So then it said that Ambarish Maharaj was praying to the Sudarshan Chakra. And the Sudarshan Chakra, who's like personified, was a person who was satisfied. And Durvasa Muni's life was spared. So he didn't die via Sudarshan Chakra. So then, interesting enough is that what happens is, Ambarish Maharaj forgives him for trying to take his life. It's kind of a difficult thing to forgive someone for, right? Sometimes people wrong us in different ways, and we may have hard times forgiving them. But Durvasa Muni wanted to kill him, and he's actually had a plan to do that, attempted murder. But he was unsuccessful. But he forgave Durvasa Muni, and then what happened is they just continued as they were going to before. So Ambarish Maharaj served him nice prasadam, nice dinner or lunch or whatever time of the day it was, and Durvasa Muni was very satisfied, and they both kind of went their ways. So after all that, so happy ending. So in relation to us, Prabhupada, we read the purport, and Srila Prabhupada is advising us to be careful in our dealings with people, with Vaishnavas, with devotees, and just people in general. And of course, we all make mistakes, or at least I do. And to err is human. That's some saying from somebody, but it makes sense. To err is human. To make mistakes is human. So it's not really a question, okay, am I going to make a mistake or am I not going to make a mistake? Mistakes are going to be made, but how is one going to deal with the mistakes one makes? So one important point in making mistakes is to realize that it was a mistake and to accept that it was a mistake, and therefore try to rectify the situation or solve the problem somehow, whether it's a person, usually it's with people. The mistakes a lot of the times we make. So to recognize it and to progress further. Now, of course, it is the age of Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga means the age of quarrel, dissension. It's a very difficult age for people to get along with each other. Look at the divorce rates. How high are they now in America? 50, I know it's probably over 50%, right? 60%? 60%. So it doesn't seem like it's going down. It's going up. Of course, Santosh Mataji and Devaki Nandan, they're a rare case. They've been They've been married for the last 60 years. Isn't it? 60 years, so maybe we could... That's a long time. Huh? So, God bless you. So yeah, it's a rare. It's very. Who do we know has been married for 60? Of course, there are people who've been married for a while, but my point is, it's an age. Divorce rates are very high. Why? Because there's quarreling, disagreements, and so on.
That's your what?
Death shall depart us. Death is your... Oh, death shall separate you. Okay. Okay. Death or sannyas, right? Sannyas is as good as death, right? So, I mean, yeah, so that's another thing. I mean, on another point, Mahatma Gandhi, he was married, and it said that him and his wife would sometimes argue, sometimes fight. But they didn't really take it seriously. And at one point, he just told her, just leave, just leave the house. Good old Mahatma Gandhi, right? Just leave the house. So then she left, and she just waited outside. And she waited, and she waited, and she waited, and then she was thinking that eventually his anger will subside, and so then she waited, and then she knocked back on the door, and then he said, okay, you can come in. So they didn't take it very seriously. It's not that, oh, leave, and then she just leaves forever and hops on a plane or whatever. But so it's interesting. So yeah, it's difficult to get along sometimes, and but that's our challenge, to try to overcome that tendency to disagree, to not get along, to fight, to quarrel, in such a way that it just destroys relationships. So that's our challenge, to overcome that. My grandmother, who lives here in SanDiego, she, I became a monk here, a harekrishna brahmachari devotee, trying to be a devotee. So she really didn't understand. She understands more now, but especially, because I've been here for 10 years, a little more than 10 years, but especially then, when I was 18-year-old boy, or young man, whatever. She was saying, oh, what is he doing? She was really against it. And she wasn't out and out against it, she wouldn't tell me to my face so much. And ultimately she was actually quite polite about it. Luckily a lot of my family was like that. But I remember one time I happened to be at her house for a gathering, a Christmas gathering, and I read. And I just picked up a notebook. I mean, I wasn't trying to snoop through her things or something, but I picked up a notebook of hers. And she was saying, she was praying to God, because she's a religious lady. So she's saying, oh, please God, help my niece, because it's my cousin, she's got difficulties. She's living on the streets and drugs and this and that, and please help my niece, God. And she said, please also help my nephew. He's joined some weird group, And I read it and I was like, oh wow, this is what she thinks. Okay. So then, I didn't confront her about it. I don't even think she knows I read that. But then over time, there was a few discussions we had about it. And I remember one time she came down here for some reason, and we were in her car, we were parked around here, and we were talking. And so she was telling me that, oh, you have a man in the temple, and she was referring to Prabhupada. So she's saying, oh, you worship a man, And I was saying, no. We worship him, we offer our respects as because he's a representative of God, he's a representative of Krishna. We don't worship him as God, because that's kind of the idea she had. So then we discussed, and eventually she just said, well, okay. She said, we can agree to disagree. So, and after that, we haven't really had so many discussions. So yeah, we may disagree, but we're still polite with each other. We're still respectful. It's not that each time we see each other, we're angry, we're frustrated, we're mad, we're venting, we're holding this energy. So I'm her grandmother, she's my grandson, I'm her grandson, she's my grandmother, and at least materially that's the situation. So yes, there's no hard feelings there. So we learn how to work beyond that. So, but the power of Krishna consciousness is that it actually makes one tolerant. And that's a very important quality to have. Extremely important. Because this world is a world in which our tolerance will be tested. At work, with our boss, or if we happen to be the boss, with our employees, right? At home with our families, mothers, fathers, whatever, sisters, wives, there's tests of tolerance. In the ashram, here, all the other monks, right? So it's tests of tolerance. But Krishna consciousness, without a doubt, gives one the ability to tolerate, if it's practiced properly. There's this one devotee, he's been a devotee for many years, his name is Vijay Prabhu, and he is the minister of book distribution. So he travels the whole world and encourages devotees to distribute Prabhupada's books, which now we've distributed however many, at least. I don't know if it's been a few million or what, but... So Vijay Prabhu, who also distributes books, he doesn't just encourage it, he distributes himself. He's a brahmachari. So he was out at an airport, I believe it was Los Angeles. So then some guy comes up to him out of the blue, and he gets really close in Vijay's face, and he just starts shouting at him all types of different things, saying how he's wrong and he's a fool and idiot and brainwashed, and just shouting in his face for doing what he's doing, passing out books about spiritual knowledge. But then Vijay, just like Ambarish Maharaj, on some level, in his own way, he was just standing there, not doing anything. So then the guy ran out of steam and he just walked away. And then Vijay just continued distributing books. So then one person came up to him and said, "Wow, that was absolutely amazing." And a random person said, "That's absolutely amazing." He said, "What's in those books?" And then Vijay started to explain, and the guy said, "Oh, I'll take some books," and he gave a donation and bought some books. So he was impressed by his tolerance. So that's an example of a devotee who had tolerance, or who has tolerance. There's also this one devotee. This one many years ago, before he became a devotee. He was living in Chicago, like a young Italian Chicago, as he would say, punk. Just like a rough guy. So he would see the Hare Krishna devotees, and he would just absolutely hate them. And he would go so far as to get rocks, and he would throw them at the devotees. With the idea of hitting them. So that was his general program, to each time go up and criticize them, yell at them, throw rocks at them, like that, make fun of them. So one time he went up to some brahmachari monk. He went up to some monk who was distributing books, and he tried to do what he usually does. He goes up to him and criticize him and make fun of him and calls him names. And this brahmachari happened to be a very tall, strong, Irish young man. So anyways, this man, he was yelling at him. This young boy was yelling at this brahmachari. And then this monk, what he did is he chastised, he didn't hit him, but he chastised him. He chided him, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You're just a little punk." He told him that to his face, and he said, like that. So then this monk, he just walked away. So then this boy, whose name was, what's his name? Nick. Yeah, this boy whose name was Nick, he started thinking to himself, you know what? He's right. I am just a punk, and I should stop what I'm doing. So he had like this change of heart. So then he went and he tried to find this monk. So he went to him and he said, "You know what, you're right, and I apologize, please forgive me, and here's a donation, and I'll take one of your books." So he got a book. So then he tried to join the temple, this and that. So some time passed, and he actually became really interested in Krishna consciousness, visiting the temple and so on. He actually became a devotee. And he was actually a devotee here for many years, part of our congregation. His name was Nick, and he got initiated some years ago, and he got the name Prabhupada Das, which means servant of Prabhupada, because he had this attachment to Prabhupada. You go in his apartment, there's just Prabhupada everywhere. So he had this change of heart. But even while as a devotee, I mean, I don't think he mind me saying this. He's in Mayapur now, he lives there. But even as a devotee, he still had problems with anger. He said this in a public forum, so I don't think he minds me saying. If he gets mad, he could call me from Mayapur. So he still had this problem with anger, and he didn't know what to do about it. He just was really confused. How do I overcome this? Which some people have problems with anger, or whatever it may be. So he thought to himself, okay, I'm just going to listen to Prabhupada as much as possible. Because Prabhupada has like hundreds and thousands of lectures and kirtans recorded. So that's what he would do. He would wake up in the morning and he'd listen to Prabhupada while getting ready, while cooking, while driving to work, while working, while driving back from work. He'd be listening to Prabhupada kirtans and lectures. While sleeping, he'd be in his ear. And then he said over time, he said that Prabhupada's voice acted like it was like a transcendental spiritual exorcism, in which he felt like the ghost of anger and all these different things were just fleeing from him. So he felt that by Prabhupada's voice and his influence, the influence of a pure devotee, he overcame that problem. So that's a nice, I thought, example of the power of Krishna consciousness. In case some of us were wondering about it, the power. So yeah, the main point is that by the process of Krishna consciousness, one is able to transcend so many things which one may not ordinarily be able to transcend or to overcome. And therefore we're advised to take to the process as sincerely and seriously as we possibly can. And practically within this age of Kali, it means chanting. Chanting the holy names in japa, like in japa on beads, and also in kirtan like we just did some time ago. And it says that those particular processes, while done properly, and also as this verse and purport explain, not offending devotees, it has the power to completely awaken one's Krishna consciousness, just those processes. And it also says by taking prasadam, or food offered to Krishna. So there's a verse that explains that, a Sanskrit verse. You know this one, Andrani? You know this one? Okay, well, you got to learn this one. It says, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi. You could talk to your Sunday school teacher, she could teach you. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabavid Gram Indriyai Sevan Mukha Hijivada Swayameva Spratida. So it says that one's material blunt senses, means the material senses, eyes and ears and so on, they cannot perceive God or they cannot perceive Krishna. But by engaging the senses in the service of Krishna, the senses become spiritualized or purified or Krishnaized, as Prabhupada said. And specifically the tongue and tasting prasadam, food offered to Krishna, and chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna, it says that Krishna reveals himself. He makes himself available or known or realized. So yeah, those two processes, chanting and taking prasadam. So that everybody could do. Whether you're in a temple or your house, you could do that. No excuses. Okay, I mean there are excuses, but no good excuses. Because it's a very simple thing to do. All right, does anyone have any questions or comments? Or anything you'd like to say? at this point? Yes, Roy. We call you Ramananda Roy.
That was in the Krishna book.
I don't think it is, but there's a similar story in the Krishna book. The story in the Krishna book is Bhrigu Muni. Bhrigu Muni wanted to find out who was supreme, who was God. So the sages, they urged him, okay, we'll give you a very practical way how to find that out. So Bhrigu Muni first, he went to Shiva, which happened to be his brother, and he kicked, what was it? What was it? Yeah, he offended him by his words. First it was by his words. Or actually, first it was just in his mind. He was just neglecting him. So then Shiva became very upset. And he became very upset. And so in that way, Bhrigu Muni realized that, okay, he's not supreme. So then he went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma, it said Shiva was going to, kill him with a trident. He was a little angry. So then he went to Lord Brahma, and Brahma, he criticized him with his words. So then Brahma got really angry, and there's some altercation there. So then he went to Lord Vishnu. So Bhrigu Muni went to Lord Vishnu. So this was the highest offense. And what he did to Lord Vishnu is he went right to Vishnu and he kicked him right in the chest. So then Vishnu, he told Bhrigu Muni very peacefully, in essence he said, I must have hurt your foot. Is your foot okay? So he's very gentle, and then they have this conversation. And this way he realized Vishnu was supreme. So that's what in the Krishna book, just similar. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much.